What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. It is the Sunday night post-game show. It's the first of its kind. We know the game just aired yesterday. That is, not a mistake. We weren't going to air live at like 10 o'clock. So anyway, the post-game show is going to be a staple of the channel. Every Sunday night during the season, we're going to be live, and we will talk and just give initial reaction to the Jets games. I got Chad every week on the Sunday night show. I got Steven Engel. He is hyped up. I got to put him in the chat. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wrong button here. There he is. Get the fuck up. So anyway, Chad, how you doing? How are you living? The Jets game was good. I hope you enjoyed it. The stream yesterday was pretty packed. It was bumping, but we enjoyed it. What did you think?
Well, yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this series of shows we're going to do. Yeah, so I broke down and bought the Game Pass because, as you know, we live out of market, and I decided that I wasn't giving enough money to Roger Goodell and the NFL, so I had to go ahead and get the Game Pass back. So I was watching you live, and I was going back and forth between that and the game. So I'm sure we're going to get into it. But initial takeaways: look, first and foremost, no serious injuries to any guys on the starters. That's, as a longtime fan, I know you feel the same way. That's what we look for when it comes to any preseason game. I don't care. For me, it goes injuries and then personal performance, followed by a win. I don't care that much about wins and losses in the preseason. I just care that we come out of there unscathed for the most part, which we did. And then, of course, we're going to get into this, but the way that Zach looked was very, very impressive to me.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were very impressive and exciting. A lot of people want to go to Zach Wilson automatically. I was actually more impressed by other aspects of the game. So we will get into that, like you said. Anyway, the Sunday show, guys, it's about you guys initially. We're going to basically let you guys lead the discussion early on. So if anybody has any takes, any questions for the chat and just for us in general, more than happy to basically shoot the shit on the game yesterday. Eagle Fang, yep, no injuries is always great, and they played good. Yes. There were some areas that I think could have been better, but that's kind of nitpicky a little bit. And again, for preseason football, it really doesn't all that much matter. People are happy to see you, Chad. There's Grant Root is saying Chad is back. Let's see. Good that Wilson did not take a hit. Actually, that's not true. He did take a hit. There was a play, I believe the second drive, and that was my favorite play of the entire game. He took a shot and delivered a strike. I was actually glad that he took that shot, not because I want him to get hurt. I think he needs the experience of not only getting hit in the NFL, but also not being afraid to deliver the ball. So I think it's good for him. It's good experience. Those hits are going to come in the season no matter what. So we'll just have to wait on that one.
Are you talking about? I don't remember the Giants. I'm assuming D tackle because he came right through the middle. Are you talking about that one?
It was. Yeah. So it was the play where he had stepped up to avoid the edge rushers, and then he took a shot from that interior rush.
Yeah, he took a shot head on, and like you said, I was glad. I was glad that he took that shot, and then he kept rolling.
Yep.
And at some point, he pushed Morgan Moses, and you could see him kind of mouthing. I think he said like "Let's go" or "Let's go get it," and that's what I really like to see.
Absolutely. Oh wow, Stephen Engel in the chat said that Joe Walton died, former Jet coach. I didn't know that. 85 years old. That is a shame, but a very full life, and I am sure his family is hopefully celebrating his life because that's ultimately what you got to do at the end of the day. Let's see. Eagle Fang. Eagle Fang. bottom 5 PFF grades for the Jets on offense last night. Thank you for sharing this, by the way. This is great because I don't have this information. He said on offense, it was Yeboah with a 32.2 PFF grade, which is bad. Walter, the running back who fell down, got up, and then fumbled it. Daniel Brown, the other tight end. Look at our tight ends, my God.
Yeah, I
39.9
know.
Croft, 45.4 Wesco. I mean, really, really bad. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. No, and this is something that we were going to get to later if we go through the topics. But there is not a milk carton big enough to fit the faces of the tight ends that have been missing from this franchise since when? Since Dustin Keller.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're literally going back to 2008, 2009 just to get a tight end. I'm not going to go on. It's too early to go on a rant right now. You've seen me go on these tight end rants before. I can't stand it. I thought, okay, and listen, let's not go crazy. Where is Chris Herndon? What is he doing?
Well, he did have one nice play, but it was a very basic route. I mean, he ran straight. It was literally an out route, 5 steps forward and then cut right, and he caught the ball. But you're right, though. Where is Chris Herndon? Get him involved a little bit more. I would like to see them pepper him a little bit to see if he can handle it, target him.
Can they like take a game? If they had 4 preseason games, it would be great if they could just take one of them. Don't start any wide receivers. Let them all rest. Start all of your tight ends just so they know what it's like to experience catching a ball. Yep. Like, I don't understand. Obviously, I'm joking, but like it's insane that how long it's been since we've had any legitimate wide receiver.
You mean tight end?
Any legitimate tight end. It's just. It's a staple of any modern NFL offense. I understand we can't fix it in an offseason. I'm sure they're going to be addressing it, but hey, you know what? Maybe somebody turns it around in Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. And the story has not been written yet. The tight ends could, turn it around. I actually am surprised that Wesco only had a 47.8 PFF grade. I thought he played pretty decently. And the running game was pretty strong at certain points when he was blocking. So I'm surprised he was so low. It must have not been as good as I had thought. Holy moly, there's a lot of chat. So let's try to catch up here. Let's get to Mike Galazia. Good to see you, Mike. I don't recognize your name, but it's good to see you in the chat nonetheless. Thanks for stopping by. Jeremy Cravat, we need a real tight end. Yes. And go ahead.
Maybe they'll host open tryouts and we can all take a trip up to East Rutherford, One Jets Drive. Or no, I guess that's in Long Island or whatever. We have a chance of making the roster. We really do.
Yeah, it's not good. I wanted them to draft a tight end, but like we've said it numerous times, they were never going to fill every position of need. So this was just the one position that they pretty much neglected. Let's see. You Embarrass Me says, Wilson was put in a position to succeed. Yes. I liked the simplicity, obviously, because you don't want to go too crazy in the preseason. You don't want to show anything. I don't know if anybody noticed the touchdown pass that Trey Lance had. It was his second pass attempt. There was some crazy motions and play actions and boots and all this crazy stuff. It was a pretty exotic play, I thought, for the preseason, and I'm happy that the Jets didn't get too cute. They were in I formation a lot last night, and so yeah. I liked that. They'll get more creative once the season begins. But they helped him by just running the ball a lot and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. They were very simple reads. So it was good.
And also, no Elijah Vera Tucker. So hopefully we'll see our first glimpse of him going into next week because that's going to be obviously even more. Although I will say I didn't expect Feeney to be put in at that left guard. I don't know why. I didn't associate him with being the second guard there, but he held up. I thought he held up.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought that the offensive line throughout the night was fairly decent, actually. There weren't a lot of blown assignments. That was the thing that I was most going to be focused on, and I had said that before the game aired. I wanted to see how our first, the first team offensive line looked. I wanted to see how the second team offensive line looked. Overall, it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
And the running game could have been better, but the pass protection was decent, I thought. So,
Which uh, coincides with all the reports we've been seeing out of training camp so far. You
yeah,
know,
yep, absolutely. Um, let's see. Vervain says our tight ends suck. Brayden says, and I got to work on my fonts here. I do apologize about that. Brayden says, I don't know what I was watching live. I thought Feeney played well. Far out was I wrong. When I replayed it, I was astounded, blinded by enthusiasm, I guess. I think that if we can get him to be a decent backup, that's a win. That's really what you're kind of hoping for with Feeney. Let's see. Jeremy says we need to be watching the waiver wire. Kicker will be a discussion tonight. I think that's something that we need to be addressing. And
I don't know. I mean, I know you mentioned this last night. We were slamming our fists on the table, begging them to take the kid from Miami,
Jose Borregales, yeah.
and they wouldn't do it. And now look where they are. Look at the kick last night. I think he kicked it in the fourth row. It literally knocked a hot dog out of a kid's hand, which is there might be a lawsuit on the way for that. And now look, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
No, Amendola did he got the extra point after the touchdown, but he didn't get a chance to kick a field goal. So I think we'll probably see him start in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he'll be the one that gets the first opportunity. And Eagle Fang hitting us again with some PFF stats, and he's showing us the rookie quarterbacks. He said that first round rookie quarterback preseason debut, Zach Wilson 80.3, Mac Jones 79.5, Justin Fields 58.7, Trevor Lawrence 58.7, and Trey Lance 48.8.
It is hard to put Fields in there because Fields played roughly double the time of everybody else, but they're really committed to not having him start right away in Chicago, which is, I mean, that's fine. But he played like a full 2 quarters, if not more. But he looked.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I thought he looked good.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields. I liked what I saw from him. I mean, he moved. He used his legs. He used his arm. I know that the touchdown pass was wide open, but that's not his fault. All right. Let's see. Everaldo de. Sorry, not good with last names. I do apologize. Everaldo. He says any good tight end available in next year's draft or free agency. Free agency is not even worth discussing just because that could change dramatically. As the season progresses, teams could re-sign players. They may franchise tag players. So I don't even know what the free agency is going to look like for the market for tight ends. I think there's going to be good tight ends. I don't know them, though. I'm going to be watching this college football season to get a sense of who the good guys are coming out. Let's see. Grant Rude said that Lance was pretty underwhelming, minus 2 really great throws. Let's see. Lindles, it's good to see you in the chat. He said we can wait until the draft for a tight end. Focus on wide receiver. Maybe one of these tight ends will step up. It's too early to panic. If Zach has it, we will be okay. And that's a great point to make, Lindles, because as bad as the tight ends we're presuming, if Zach Wilson's doling the ball out accurately and getting the ball in the hands of these guys, he should be able to elevate even some of these guys that aren't household names. So that's a fair point to make. I like that. We're going to get started with our topics soon, but I am trying to give everybody a chance to throw in some questions. Stephen Engel, he said, did Amendola play last night? I think Chad answered that earlier. He did. He made an extra point. I didn't see him on a kickoff, which I was kind of hoping to see because he has a monstrous leg. I wanted to see him really put the boot to work. But yeah, he will get his opportunity. I think you're right, Chad. He's going to play and start as the kicker week. I thought it was weird that they didn't just have Nagar do all of the kicking the first game and then give all of the kicking to Amendola in the second game. But whatever.
It's so hard to tell at this point in training camp in the preseason when it comes to kickers because your opportunities for game time are so limited. And again, that's why we don't want to be in the. I don't want to sign a guy in week 1. I don't want to sign a guy in week 3. Like you want to have your guy now. You want him to get as much experience as possible in as much pressure situations as possible. So what we keep doing is putting ourselves back into this bad situation with kickers over and over and over again.
Yep. And a fair point by Eagle Fang. He said they picked Jonathan Marshall, the defensive tackle, instead. ... He got 2 sacks. ... So I think what he's saying is the Jets prioritize just better, or excuse me, just players help this team out with the pass rush rather than spend the pick on the kicker. You could make the case that they could definitely do without Jonathan Marshall, but it certainly doesn't hurt if this guy's going to be an interior pass rusher to have another one. So I can't argue with it.
I mean, at this rate, it's like, can Jonathan Marshall kick a 45-yarder? Because he might. Because you know what, he might have to. He might have to.
Oh, jeez. Everaldo, he says Feeney was great at the Islander games. You can say whatever you want as whatever you want as him as a player. The dude was dynamite at those Islanders games. Ridiculous. The energy was through the roof.
Right, and I think this is one of the last topics that we touched on when I was last on, but the video of the few Jets players before the Islander game, like pounding beers, shotgunning, and just having a good time. I will say I have not seen that in over 10 years, that kind of camaraderie off the field. I mean, there's something to be said for a guy like Feeney that brings people together.
Sure.
There's a value there that's hard to replicate.
And fun. Just having fun with each other. Like, I know that sounds so cheesy, but like the teammates are supposed to enjoy each other and get along. And if they can have fun off the field, they can probably have fun on the field. So
I'd have to go back to Mangold and Fitzpatrick to see that, just have that kind of energy, visible on the field.
Yep. Mike with a interesting comment. I like it. That's why it's up here. He said, stats are important, but they are not everything. Eye test counts for something. I believe stats mean almost nothing in the preseason. And that's why when I was very surprised last night, there were actually people in the chat worried about winning and losing. I think it was mostly Giants fans that were in the stream that were saying that. It is not about wins and losses in the preseason. It's all about the eye test. Definitely not about stats.
Never forget the year that the Lions went 0-16. They went 4-0 in the preseason, right? And the year that the Patriots went 19-1 or 18-1, they were 0-4 in the preseason. So you never forget that.
Exactly. Let's see. And I love this. This is a good check. A optimistic check. He says, you embarrass me, says, with all the optimism, it's important to remember we're in the middle of a rebuild. And I have been firm on that. 6 to 8 wins, 6 to 9 wins. We're in that range somewhere, I believe. No playoffs, in my opinion, this season. But again, you have to consider everything that they have in the 22 offseason. It's just going to really, really catapult us, I think. I think we will be in the playoffs in the 22 season.
And you know what? That puts us in a good position. It takes the pressure off. We understand that, like, look, as of right now, until week 1, this is still a 2-win team.
Yep.
And I don't believe that they have the energy or the mindset of a 2-win team. But like Parcells used to say, you are what your record says you are. But I think that we don't have the pressure going into us this season. I mean, I think we are going to be overlooked. But am I gonna go drown myself, in a bottle after a crushing loss? Well, maybe, but it won't be as bad. Right. It won't be as bad as if there was something on the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. Malcolm Harper, a new person to the stream, so welcome. Oh, I don't have my sound effects on. That is no bueno. Let me fix that right now. Work, damn it. Oh, I muted you, Chad. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Malcolm Harper, welcome to the channel. He says, do you think we have a shot at Nick Foles? once he gets released by the Bears eventually. I don't think that he is going to get cut. I think that the Colts will probably work out a deal with the Bears. That's my guess. I think the Bears are just sitting on their hands because they don't have to trade him right now. They know that teams are going to want Foles, and they're just waiting for the very best offer. So I'm not trying to dismiss your question. I just think that ultimately that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Jets have a shot at Foles. Yeah, Lindell's very impressive. Jonathan Marshall was definitely causing havoc, and that's exactly what you want from your defensive line, and that's what this scheme is all about. And I'm going to wrap up, I think, this, initial... Oh, we got more people. Oh, look at this. We got more people in the chat that I don't recognize, so that's great. I will get to you guys in just a second. Frankie from Flatbush, another YouTube Jets content creator. Check him out, guys. His channel name is exactly that, Frankie from Flatbush. Borgalis, Nick Folk, Norden, who I don't know. He said, we can get one of those if we want. I think that's fair, and I think that the Jets ultimately will probably do that. Kind of like the 2018 season where we picked up Vedvik.
Yeah.
That worked out great, right?
Yeah, we have to turn the kicker thing around. It has to happen.
It's great to see you, Elliot, in the chat. Elliot and I go back and forth a little bit on Twitter. He said, hi, guys, just turned on. Just want to say, feeling very encouraged about Zach Wilson. For me, he's way ahead of where I'd expect him to be. Maybe I have very low expectations. No, I don't think that's outrageous to say. He was a calm, smooth operator last night. And I think that's one of the things that I read online. People said that he just had a presence, and he was very smooth. To put it simply, he was just very, very smooth in everything that he did. So that was nice. Let's see. Yes, Elliot again saying, but Zach looked sharp, quick, poised. I feel like he will improve at an accelerated rate. If he continues to do what I think he's doing, which is just eating film, I feel very strongly that he's going to be a very, very good quarterback this season and beyond. Grant Root said, when was the last time the Jets won a preseason game? I don't know. Had they lost a bunch? I feel like they won last preseason, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know when the last time was they won. Winston Smith, did any Jets make the top 100? Corey Davis came in at like 97, I think. And they're still releasing those, I believe. So good question, Winston Smith. I know that Corey Davis is in there. Wouldn't shock me if Mekhi Becton is in there. But we'll wait and see on that one. DSNY73. Does anybody here besides me think that last night's preseason game, was the best Jets game since the 2010 firing on all cylinders? There's reason to be optimistic, folks. There have been a few games since then, but dude, I'm with you. It's a very optimistic time. There's just a lot of new with the Jets franchise, so there's no reason to not feel exactly the way you feel. John, I like your belief, and I defer to you because you know more about the Jets than your left thumb than I could ever know. I'm hoping for 5 Ws and expect serious winning in 2022. That's how I take it. More winning in 22, more building in 21. Jason Rhodes is here with his gun. I just hope we don't have an overrated season as we did with Sam's first year. That 7-win team was really a 3-win team.
Well, yeah, we had a stretch. We had a stretch of games at the end that were just a series of crazy things happened. But yeah, and honestly, the stretch of games at the end of that season, I thought saved Gase's career at least for another year.
Yep. Davis was on the top 100. Didn't see the whole list though. I imagine Q would be on there. Yeah, Quinnen will probably be on there as well. That's a good point. All right, just trying to catch up. Vervain says Vedvik was a stud. Sarcastic, obviously. I think the Jags are going to release Beathard at some point. Wouldn't that be nice? Because they have not traded. What the hell is his name? The guy with the mustache. Everybody's infatuated with his mustache. Minshew.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew.
So they haven't traded him. I can't imagine they'll keep 3 quarterbacks. So yeah, he might get cut. That would be a good fit. I don't know, man. I still get the vibe that the Jets just don't give a shit about the backup quarterback spot.
If it was that important to them, they would have made a move at this point. I haven't heard anything on that front in weeks and weeks.
Yep.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to ride or die with Zach.
Great question. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Great question by Cliff. Are you guys wanting to see more wins or development from Zach Wilson? You get only one choice. It's a clear answer. Chad, you go first.
It's going to be the Zach Wilson development.
Yes.
There's no question about it. Which, I mean, if he develops well enough, you could say that that's going to result in wins. It might not result in wins this season, but we're going to see it coming down the line. I mean, when we said that back in 2018 with Sam, we wanted the same thing. I mean, this is a copy and paste from then, where it's like, okay, we're going to take some L's this year. We understand that, but are we going to be competitive in games? Is Zach going to put up good numbers? Is he going to make good decisions? Is he going to make those throws that leave you saying, oh, God, what were you thinking? Why would you throw it off your back foot into double coverage down the middle of the field? Right. So if we see some great stuff, it's going to leave us feeling better going into the future.
Yep. Agreed. Jeremy Cravat, he says next week against Green Bay is going to be a much bigger test. It depends on if they play their players. A lot of these coaches right now are not playing their starters. And it's not just the quarterbacks, it's like a bunch of their best players. But you're right, though. They have a better team than the New York Giants, obviously. So no worries. And again, I just can't wait. I had such a good time last night watching that damn game. So it's all gravy, man. Like we just want to see competitive Jets football. Wins are great, obviously, but competitive football is the trump card in my mind. Let's see. Cliff Hopkins, great question again. I love this. Why was Denzel Mims on special teams? He asked to be. He went up to the coaches and he said, I want to contribute. Because I assume he's probably a little irritated with his role on the offense. So he said, you know what? Screw this. Let me get on special teams, coach. Let me go out there and flash a little bit on special teams. I got to tell you, it gets me he over the course of the offseason and up to now, this is my hot button topic. I am rooting for Denzel Mims as hard as any player on this Jets team. I love his attitude, dude. I love Denzel Mims, and I love the fact that he went up to his coaches and just said, "Put me on teams. Let me go make a play."
So let me stay on that for a minute. What do you make of this? Is the whole Denzel Mims storyline that's been going on the past couple weeks, is that just completely overblown? Is this whole thing with Mims apparently being on the outs with someone, and then he had the food poisoning, and then the questions came up about, is he on the trade block? Is this just absurdity, or is there something to this?
I don't think he's on the trade block. I still stand by the fact that even if the Jets said to themselves, Mims maybe is disappointing, I don't still see why you would get rid of somebody who you drafted in the second round in their second year unless they were really showing a lot of negativity. I got to get to Grant's comment after this. Unless he was showing a lot of like bad stuff off the field and on the field, but he hasn't done any of that. And so
Right.
I just don't get it with the trading and the making. He might be on the roster bubble. I don't want to be that person that's like constantly bashing New York media, but this was a really ugly thing for them, a sore spot, I think. Connor Hughes saying he's not a scheme fit is, again, I get so irritated with this. That is outrageous.
Right.
Why can't you why can't you find a role for a 6'3" wide receiver that has extremely good straight line speed, who can get up, who's got long arms? I don't get it.
Well, now, okay, so to be totally fair, Connor says it's not him saying it's not a scheme fit. He's just passing along that information. But in general, this again feels like the media literally creating a story out of nothing where there was none before. And then it's like And then the coaches have to be asked about it. They're going to ask Robert Saleh about it last night. They're going to ask Mims about his exchange with Saleh last night. And now it is something. You know what I mean? So it's like they create something, and now it's legitimately something where there was nothing there. I mean, I mean, look, especially with Elijah Moore out, and they're not going to keep playing Corey Davis with any significant time in the preseason. I think he's going to get his chances, and I hope he does as well as possible.
This comment has me laughing. John's got a twinkle in his eye for Mims. When we start talking about Mims, I get fired up, man. I can't help it. I just think it's outrageous. And you're hitting on good points, Chad. It almost feels like the New York media got together in a room and we're just like, okay, guys, what are we gonna make up? Like, what BS story are we gonna make up? And we're all gonna say it together. I don't know, man. It's crazy. And so it's not just how he responded. Like last night, he played good, obviously. His post game interview was just awesome. So humble, and he's gonna work. He's not gonna give up. He's gonna fight for everything that he gets. And for a second rounder, I think that's great coaching. I still think that the Jets are kind of trying to light a fire under him. I'm not saying he doesn't have a fire, but maybe they're just trying to test this kid. I don't know, man, but I love it.
Right, and if you think about it from his perspective, what do? They went out and signed. I mean, their best offensive signing of the season, Corey Davis, make a big deal about him. He's going to come over and be the legitimate number one. And then they draft Elijah Moore. And what have we been talking about ever since training camp? Elijah Moore. Oh my God, he's amazing. I can't wait to buy an Elijah Moore jersey. This is great. So he's hearing all of this, and now he's getting this stuff from the media, and it's like it's never ending for this guy. So yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough from his perspective, and I want nothing more for him to go out and just kill it.
I'm rooting for him so hard. He's a great kid. I love his attitude. Yeah, so Frankie, he does point out that he lost a bunch of weight from puking. I'll be perfectly honest with you. There had to be a lot of pooping as well, Frankie. You're a very polite man, but if he's got food poisoning, it's coming out both ends. There's no way he's puked up 20 pounds of body weight. So he was very sick, obviously. And again, that's a lot of people like kind of scoff at that. Like, oh, he didn't lose 20 pounds. Like, if you're barfing a lot and if you're pooping a lot, you're becoming dehydrated. You're losing a lot of water. And so that's where the weight loss number comes from. Guys, do me a favor. Grant Rude just pointed out in the chat. We have a lot of people in here right now. We have about 54 friends with us. So if you are in the stream and you're hanging out with us and we are answering your questions for you, talking Jets football with you, go ahead and do me a favor. Hit the like button for me. And if you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That giveaway is about 2 weeks away now. We're giving away the signed Wayne Chrebet mini helmet on September 1st. All you have to do is be subscribed to give yourself a chance. It supports the channel, and it keeps me motivated to continue to create all of the content that you guys get. So, all right. Yeah, Lindles, I'm with you, man. He does have a competitive fire, and we will get to that. We are going to talk a little bit about that. Let's see. It's more than a twinkle. Yeah, I get pretty fired up about it. You guys are doing an outstanding job, by the way. I haven't even had a chance to get to our topics, which is more than fine with me. If you guys continue to load up the chat, I will continue to read your chat, and Chad and I can just talk over it. There's no problem with that. Mike with a good point. Zuniga looked a little slow. I wanted to see more from him. I think he is on the bubble. I thought that he was going to not break out this year. I thought Huff had a better shot to break out. I thought Jonathan Franklin Myers had a better shot to break out. But I'm shocked that he is basically a Vernon Golston clone. He's a ghost. He played I think he rushed the quarterback 9 times, and I think he registered 1 pressure or 0 pressures. It was like he was non-existent.
Well, and he left with a knee, right? So
did he get hurt?
Yeah.
Well, so prior to injury, though, not so good. And I think I agree with Mike here. He is absolutely on the roster bubble. When you watch all of the pass rushers we have on this team, he's definitely got to be on the roster bubble. There's just not enough room for all these dudes. And if he's getting hurt again, which I didn't know he got hurt, that is not good.
I'll
Not
double check that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Isaac Wright. So I do have, excuse me, I do have a new feature where you guys can be members of the channel. It's like a new thing that, or a new option, I guess. And I would love to do that. So if you become a member of the channel, I will invite you to a GroupMe app, and we can definitely do stuff like that. So we can communicate during the week. It's basically like it's like text messaging essentially. So if you were interested in doing a fantasy league, I am down all the way. It's just kind of hard to coordinate with people through streams and posts. I would be absolutely down with doing a league though. So I just need a better way to communicate, I guess, if that makes any sense. Feel no obligation though to become a member. It's not required. Let's see. Lindell's. I think he was too reserved, and now Salah sees that he wants it. Salah is a fiery dude, and maybe that's something that Salah needs to learn from potentially, and that's actually a very good comment and something to think about. We know he's a rookie head coach. Great mind, smart leader. Perhaps maybe he's misjudged Denzel Mims just because he wasn't an extroverted, fiery guy like obviously Robert Saleh is. I think that's a fair question. What do you think about that? Maybe Saleh was doubting him because he was just so quiet.
Well, I like to give Sal a little bit more credit than that. I mean, he's been around the league for a long time. Um, and it's hard to even comment on it. Because I don't think that there's anything there. I think look, he had that one play where he broke like 9 tackles last night, which I actually, and I'll say I thought that was excessive because I was sitting there with my dad and I'm like, I'm always concerned about injuries in the preseason. I'm like, don't do that. Just, whatever. But then my dad's like, no, look at him. He's trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to work his way up the depth chart, which I totally understand. So anyway, he runs off the field and he hugs Salah, and then the press made a big deal out of it. So that's all I really need to know. I don't put any more stock into that. We're in a blessed situation right now at wide receiver where we've got some real talent on the roster. And I think that's the only reason he's kind of sliding down on the depth chart. Plus, he's been sick all summer.
Yep. No, I think you're right about that. We do have a super chat. I want to thank Jeremy for that. That is a new feature, guys, and it basically forces me to read your comment. Jeremy, thank you very much for the support, my man. I really appreciate that. He says, love that you hit 1,000, and we can show appreciation for all of your work, John. Go Jets. Really appreciate that, Jeremy. Jeremy is a part of Frankie from Flatbush's channel as well. They have a little back and forth that they do. It's called Chaos and Calmness. It's pretty funny. Like Jeremy is the chaos and Frankie is the calm. I love that dynamic. It's very funny. But I appreciate you, Jeremy. Really do. Thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah, Frankie, great point. The CJ presser had me fired up. Yeah, so Chad, tell them about what CJ said. If you missed it, Chad will go for it.
Yeah, so he was in the press conference yesterday, and it was a fairly innocuous question. I don't remember the question verbatim, but it was like, do you think you're going to be overlooked or something like that? And he said if any team is sleeping on the Jets, they're going to get their asses kicked or something to that effect. And
Yep.
I mean, you could see I think he's really fired up to prove that he is the same guy that he was at Alabama, that he was in Baltimore. And I mean, what did he have? One series last night, but I was keying in on him and he looks fast. I know he's cut like 25 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
But he got his hand on the ball at one point. And I love it. I love the attitude with this guy. I want to see that leadership. I've been saying if we can get 70% of what we had in the past, or what the NFL has had in the past with CJ Mosley, that would be awesome. Because it's hard to say that he's ever going to live up to that contract. But I mean, if
Yeah.
if early return, even from training camp, early returns are good. So I got my fingers crossed, but this could be something special with this
Yeah.
guy. You got to remember, he's what, 27, 28?
I think he's 28 or 29 actually.
But it feels like he's been around for so much longer, and you know, so that's why. But I mean, he's still got some good football left in him.
Yeah, man. I don't want to say that I was pessimistic of CJ Mosley, but I definitely am of the thought that he still will have some rust to knock off. But dude, if he proves me wrong, let's go. Cause he has proven to me, and I didn't really realize this, he's a fiery dude. And it's not just that quote. He's been talking the whole time once training camp started about how he's ready to prove that he was worth the contract. He wants to prove it to Jets fans. He has said that. His dad said it in one Jets drive. I think this means a lot to CJ Mosley. This season is really, really big for him. Not just for the Jets, but also him personally, which is great. I mean, we benefit a lot from having somebody like that on the team. And we know how young of a squad it is. So having him in the middle, leading the whole defense is awesome. Huge benefit.
That was a good episode, by the way, last week. I'm looking forward to the second one. What they drop on Tuesdays, right?
I believe so, yeah. And
I know we're not talking about that now, but watching him and then watching Carl Lawson he's doing these insane like CrossFit workouts, and then I don't know, he's just such a likable character. And I know Carl Lawson was only in a couple plays last night, but you could see that speed that we've been hearing about in training camp for the past couple of weeks. It's awesome.
they did not keep him in long, but when he was in, you could see it. And he's another one. He's like super confident, kind of like CJ Mosley. He's talking about how strong he is, talking about his fundamentals. I mean, we have some real studs on defense. That's for
The
sure.
idea of a formation with Hugh in the middle, Carl Lawson on the outside, CJ Mosley behind them. I mean, I don't know. It could be special. I don't want to get my hopes up because this team has hurt me so much for so many years, but it could be special.
Yeah, dude. I want to get to this question. This is a good one. Grant Root said, "Where has all of the Becton losing to Lawson is a problem talk go?"
Yeah.
Go ahead, hit it.
No, I mean, we've been hearing, this is another narrative we've been hearing about so far, like all summer since training camp started. And, we hear is Becton not as good as we all thought he was? Is Carl Lawson that good and the entire league was sleeping on this guy? I don't know. I don't know when it's going to stop. It's probably not going to stop until probably until, they get some more preseason games under their belt, but definitely a little bit tired of hearing that. If I have to hear the phrase "iron sharpens iron" one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to guess on why that's been the case. Like, it's been clearly written and reported that Lawson has definitely gotten the best of him. You have to remember, this is a top 5 pressure edge rusher in the National Football League last year. So again, for the casual fans, I'm not knocking casual fans. Sack numbers are great. You want to have as many sacks as you can because it's a huge loss for the opponent. But it's really more about pressures, and he is elite. He is an elite edge rushing, pass rushing guy. And so if Becton is struggling versus him, I'm fine with that because it's going to make him better. I'm not going to say the phrase again, Chad. I'm going to save your ears. But it really will help him. It'll make him a better player. And everything that I heard and that I read, Becton looked really good when he was in. He was kind of like Lawson. They pulled him out real quick. They didn't keep him
which they absolutely should. But no, the best anecdote was from a couple weeks ago. This is before they had pads on, but from a couple weeks ago, where Lawson beats Becton around the corner for the 100th time, and then he just waits. He literally just waits for the play to end. Like, he literally standing behind Zach, waiting for him to throw the ball. Like, come on, man! Like, this is getting ridiculous.
Yep, I remember. Go ahead.
But hey, let's see it again. Let's see it in week 1. Okay, let's see it in week 1 because we went on and on about tight ends. we could have that same conversation about a pass rusher. We think we've got our guy now, but I want to see it. I love everything I'm seeing with on Carl Lawson so far. I love all the interviews. I love all the segments on One Jets Drive and everything like that. I love his interviews. He's a great personality. But I want, and he's here to do one thing, and that's pressure that quarterback. I want to see it happen. Hey, sign me up for a Carl Lawson jersey. If he comes out and if he knocks around Sam in week 1, I mean, I still like Sam. I got nothing against him, but I wouldn't mind seeing him get knocked around by Carl Lawson.
Yeah, there aren't too many games on the schedule that I'm really confident in. I know that the Panthers have some good weapons, and I know they're building a pretty talented defense, but I truly believe that game is going to be decided by the amount or the lack of pass rush that the Jets get on the Panthers, and I think it's going to be a lot, man. Assuming Lawson is healthy, Quinnen Williams is healthy, Jonathan Franklin Myers, all these dudes, they are going to be getting after Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's going to have a hard week 1, I think.
That game's early on right now. That game feels to me like a turnover game, meaning that it's like there's gonna be, you just get that feeling, right? Like there's gonna be that key turnover. Something's gonna happen where it's gonna come down to a critical error and who's gonna capitalize. I mean, God willing, I hope it's us.
Yeah. That was pushing Giant defenders 4 yards up off the line every run play and had a better kick out than he had last year on Pass Pro. If you don't know what a kick out is, it's essentially that first big step that you do from your stance. And he says, I trust nothing that the beat tells me. Good boy. Good man. You're a man. Sorry. Let's see. Was the Giants broadcast team the worst? Go ahead.
It's never, it's always interesting in preseason because you watch these like out of market. I mean, for us, it's out of market, but like you watch these local, these local broadcasters or whatever that you never really see before, and it's never fun. But I mean, we've had, every other year it's from the Jets' perspective, and they talk and interview all the Jets, and this time it was the Giants. I mean, it was boring, but whatever. I mean, it's the Giants.
Yep. I think that I didn't listen to the broadcast. I was doing the stream, but everybody in the stream was talking about how bad it was, so it must have been pretty bad.
NFL Game Pass, I've never had it before this year. They do this interesting thing where I guess because of, I don't know, licensing stuff, they can't show the local commercials. So if anybody, I don't know if anybody else has Game Pass, they chime in on this. This is normal. But what they do is, like during a TV timeout, they just take a camera angle and kind of pan from the side of the stadium.
Yeah.
And you can literally, I guess they're going to work on this, but you can hear the broadcasters like strategizing to each other. And it was really super interesting. It was like, it was quiet, but then the broadcasters was like, yeah, I had to get in the flow of it there and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay.
I wish I had heard that. I didn't know that. I thought that the Game Pass was freezing when it early on. I thought that it was freezing as the camera was panning out before they went to commercial break.
Right.
It was always they were just like staring down at the stadium. So, Carmelo L. Bory's Way, welcome, dude. It's good to see you in the chat. Gitmo Bob said earlier, and I want to make sure I get to it. Does anybody want to see Ballantyne or Lamar Jackson again? I was shocked we didn't see Isaiah Dunn. Where was he last night? The undrafted kid out of Oregon State. I didn't see him at all. And Jackson, he got cooked by that Giants wide receiver. And Ballantyne, I thought he actually did okay. He did give up the touchdown pass, but that was more of a lack of pressure issue than it was him. But yeah, I didn't see anything from Isaiah Dunn. I was sort of surprised that they didn't play him. Kind of shocking. At least the New York fans didn't have the episode LA fans had. Yeah, if you didn't see, there were LA Rams fans fighting at the preseason game. Like full on, like shirtless, throwing punches, bloody faces, everything.
I can't. There's no part of me that can understand that. Um, and I mean, we've all hopefully here, like we've all been to Jet games. I mean, Jet fans can get pretty rough, but I mean, there's enough to deal with the Jets on the field without having to, deal with some BS in the crowd. I just don't get it. I mean, I was the last fight that we saw, I was at the Ravens game in Baltimore. I was at the Ravens game in Baltimore that night. It's like Thursday. It was a Thursday night game, late November 2019. This is before COVID, freezing that night. And of course, we lost. We were depleted with injuries, and of course, the Ravens were soaring. And sure enough, two guys like in their 40s or 50s got into it right in front of us. And I'm like, what do you? I'm like, I know for a fact you guys got to get up and go to work tomorrow morning. I know you do. And these guys, the guys got him in a headlock, and they're tussling back and forth. I'm like, you guys are idiots, idiots.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Mike from SY, thank you so much for the super chat. He's just clapping for us, thanking us, I would assume. Thank you very much for the support. It really does mean a lot. Yeah, dude, the fighting's insane. I've never understood why anybody would get to the point where they want to fight. Unless somebody was threatening my family, I'm pretty much staying out of that kind of stuff.
Have you been to many? I know that we were at the. I'm sure you've been to Ravens games. I know you've been to Washington games. Have you been to many games in away stadiums?
I've been to Green Bay.
That's right. Yeah.
Went to Green Bay, and I have to say, they are really good fans. Like, I know that seems like a obvious thing to say, but they are truly a good fan base. We know they own the team. They're just good people. They were very kind. There was nothing. They were all just joking around. Like, it was just friendly stuff like you would expect, or what you would hope for, I should say. But yeah, that's the only other experience. I am going to Denver this year.
Yeah.
Could be rowdy.
I've been to so many, maybe 4, 5, or 6 Ravens games against us. Seen us play the Washington football team a couple times, and I've been to Cleveland. I went to a Cleveland game back in 2016, maybe 2017. I mean, especially like at the Ravens games, like I'll get people that come up to you, and of course there's always alcohol involved, and they come up to you and be like, "Hey, the Jets suck," and I'm like, "You're literally telling me factual information.
Yeah.
Like I'm fully aware that the Jets suck. Like this isn't like okay, like
Yep.
it's like I guess like they're trying to interact and have fun, but it's like, I'm here to watch the game, like not talk to you, so
yeah." Frankie said, I believe Dunn had a minor injury. If that's the case, I feel a little bit better. I was kind of worried that they just weren't playing him because maybe he was struggling in camp, but I had read that he'd been doing very well. So I'm glad to hear that it was a minor thing, and that's the reason why he didn't play. Franz Clamor, he said, you guys are too young to remember the Pumpkin Bowl. I do not know the Pumpkin Bowl. Franz, if you put it in the chat, I will listen to your write-up of the Pumpkin Bowl. I don't know anything about that. Jeremy says, Jets fans fighting with each other? Never. Don't put it past us, unfortunately. There's definitely some rumbles between Jets fans, unfortunately. But mostly those are just people that are idiots. I'm not trying to be rude, but if you're fighting a person that's rooting for the same team, I just don't understand how that happens. But
if the worst one that I went to where there was a lot was Jets Bills for whatever reason. I mean, Bills fans, they have that whole Bills Mafia thing, and they get all aggressive and into it. And I mean, Jet fans, we've been down and out for a long time, but we're not going to take shit from anybody. Like we're not going to, especially in our house. And I've seen a lot of back and forth between Jets and Bills fans at those games.
Okay.
Yeah. Brayden just said the same thing. That's right.
Yeah. Damn, Chad said 40s or 50s, like it's old.
It's old enough to know better.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Carmela says, I'm in Baltimore. I hate it here. Yeah, Baltimore is a tough city, man. I mean, we know the Maryland area. It's just a tough, tough. Are you living actually in Baltimore City or Baltimore County? I'm not trying to get your like address or anything, but I'm just curious because Baltimore City is definitely a tough place, no doubt. Grant Root, it's still weird to say Washington football team. They need to get an actual team name. I have no clue why they've waited as long as they have. They should have had that squared out for this season. I don't get it. I hate football team. I think it's so stupid. It is really, really dumb. I've seen some real skirmishes take place between Jets and Bills fans. Yep, that's what Chad was just talking about. Let's see. Vern. Oh, what is it, Frankie? You always say Vern, the burn. He says, I've killed a Dolphins fan. Keep it on the down low, though. Let's see. Best football game I ever was at. Had a couple drunker than drunk. A couple drunker than drunk happy dudes. A couple rows up cheering all game for a team that wasn't even playing. Made the negative 30-degree weather almost bearable. Canadian, eh? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so he just said, I just moved from the city to the county 3 years. Yeah, I think you made the right choice. The city's tough for sure. Mike says, I'm in the Tampa area and still have to deal with Brady. Yeah, I'm not real happy that he's still in the league. I can't believe he's still in the league. It's just kind of nuts.
I'm going down to that stadium in October. Me and my buddy. I always wanted to go to see a big SEC game, and finally this year is the year I'm doing it. So me and my buddy are going down to see Georgia, Florida, at TIAA Stadium on October 30th.
There you go. This will be. We've been doing this for about an hour already. I'm probably gonna hit the topics and we'll go through them kind of quickly. It's fun to shoot the shit with you guys, though. This is awesome. Franz says the Pumpkin Bowl was Monday night game. Fans were setting fires in the stands, simulating sex with blow-up dolls, fights. The Monday Night Football announcers were horrified. That's intense. Sounds like a fun time, though. Kind of kinky. Let's see. Yes. Oh, thank goodness, Vern. Zach Wilson reminds me of Drew Brees. Drew Brees with maybe a little bit more athleticism upside, I would say. But yeah, he's a little bit taller as well. It would be so awesome if we had I know it's stupid. We get a great quarterback, man. It's going to change everything about this team. All right. That is an hour of chat. And I have a feeling that our regular season Sunday night shows are going to be a little bit longer than I anticipated because people are they're just busy in the chat. Great. I love the interaction with you guys. Thanks for keeping it thank you for staying engaged with the chat as long as you did. We'll real quick go through some of these topics and I'm going to do that right now. We've got Zach Wilson takeaways. We talked a little bit about it. The biggest thing that I saw was just timing, quickly getting out of getting the ball out of his hands, and also taking. It was a boring day, John. This is true. And just taking that hit. That was really my biggest takeaways, and just steady as a rock. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add on top of that.
No, I mean, I'm sure that we've all read analysis about last night. I will say that he has the zip on the ball as advertised. I did go back and watch that. I said that one throw was ill-advised, but on that third down, I think you know the one I'm talking about on the third down throw, it was like 3rd and 4 from the 20. It looked like there was some miscommunication on the route there with Davis. He literally just kind of stopped. I didn't really have any other way to explain it. He just literally stopped his route in the middle, and then it looked like Zach threw it in a double coverage. But I think that was a miscommunication timing issue, and I wouldn't even, looking back at that, I wouldn't even put that on Zach. So
Yeah.
in the very little bit we saw, I liked it. The 3rd and 16, or I'm sorry, the 3rd and 9 where he had the 16-yarder to Keenan Cole. That, in my opinion, was the best throw of the night. I love the zip on the ball. I love the release. I know we've all seen that in his time at BYU, but it just feels a little bit different to see it in the green and white, and it feels good. I don't want to get my hopes too high or anything, but I liked what I saw.
Yep. And I think it's fair what you said about the throw into traffic. I kind of said the same thing. So to me, it looked like Corey Davis stopped the route because there was a linebacker literally sitting right where he would have been running that route. So I think he was trying to break off the route because there was just too much traffic inside. And so I still credit Zach for that because he didn't recognize it. But that's, again, we're being way too tough on a rookie to
Right.
be picking up on that kind of stuff. But those were my biggest takeaways. He didn't have a lot of throws, only 9 attempts, but overall looked very good, I thought. Let's go to the comments. Vervain said, didn't force anything, looked very solid. Gotta love how smooth and composed he was. Zach looked better than Lawrence and Lance, in my opinion. And again, if you're a big PFF guy, I'm kind of in the middle on PFF. Some people really hate them. Some people really like them. They rated him as the best rookie quarterback yesterday, or over the preseason so far. Grant Rude, who was very, very much so a Justin Fields supporter, and so this is what I like is that he has moved on from that, and that's great to see. He said he was calling out protections miles ahead of where I thought he'd be. He wasn't asked to do much in the way of making plays, but reading the defense and making adjustments is huge. Yep, well said. I would like to rewatch the game. I haven't had a chance to do that. I'm going to at some point. Franz, this is a great thing, and that's why we won't allow ourselves to go crazy with the hype. There was a ton of second stringers in that game, so no, we will not lose sight of the situation, who he was up against. There's no doubt that's a factor, absolutely, and he's gonna have a test. That Carolina Panthers defense does have some players. And the New England Patriots, even though we're going to be at home, Bill Belichick is a monster. He is a rookie killer. He absolutely kills rookies. I don't expect Zach to do all that great in that week 2 game. So he's going to have a tough challenge early in the season.
I will say I'm going to be at that game, so I'm going to be doing my best to make as much noise as humanly possible.
Voice. Gonna lose it.
I am. I am going to lose my voice for the following week. I can't wait.
Yep. Like how a rookie has enough confidence to talk with his O-line like a vet. Yep. And that, Jason Rhodes, that was one of the things that you were critical of with Sam Darnold. Kind of like just a little bit timid with talking to his teammates. Yeah, absolutely. I like that too. Running game helped Zach out, and the O-line helped him stay upright as well. Yes, there was no doubt he had, for the stretch of plays that he was in there was definitely, good play around him, and that's huge. All right. Yeah, I know you are, buddy, and I am still too. I still feel like I still hate the idea that you can't like 2 quarterbacks in a draft class. I really, really did like both. I know I've said that a million times on the channel, but there's so many people that it's like, if you don't draft this one kid, you're an idiot and you're like a bozo. I still really stand by the fact that Fields, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL. It's just about what the Chicago Bears do around him. I think that's critical. All right, let's go to the next one. We are done with the Wilson takeaways. There's not too much to talk about. We've already hit on a lot of it. The Mims revenge game. We're not going to talk about his game. We talked a lot about that already. What do you think about him in preseason game 2? Do you think they will give him some opportunities and some looks in the first half? He got 0 targets in the first half. I don't even know if he had any snaps in the first half. Based on how he looked and his fire and his performance in general, do you see him maybe getting some more opportunities in the first half of game 2 of preseason?
Yeah, I don't think he actually got into the game until the third quarter, or at least had any significant role in the game until the third quarter last night. And yes, to answer your question, I think he is going to get more opportunities going into Green Bay and thereafter. Um, it's just it's time will tell with this guy. He looks hungry. He's motivated. He wants to produce. He wants to prove everybody, hey, don't forget about this name. Don't forget about me. He's still the same guy from last year. I think he is more than a red zone threat, and I think he showed a little bit of that last night. If he can block, that's going to be huge. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, you know what? If he can contribute on special teams, why not? I mean, I'm not going to forget about special teams.
I was shocked to see him in there, to be honest with you. I didn't expect them to put him on special teams. I obviously asked to do it, but I was surprised to see him in there. I would like to see him get some reps in the first half. I think they should do that. Not only is it the right thing to do because it shows the players on the team, hey, if you do this, you're going to get your opportunities. You know what I mean? Like it communicates that message without even having to say it. So,
and I should also add, if he's getting reps, then that means that probably Corey Davis is sitting. And I understand there's something to be said for developing timing and chemistry, but in the preseason, I'm okay with Corey Davis sitting. Like, I don't want to. I think we've kind of understated as a fan base how important Corey Davis is going to be for this offense, because we've all been enamored with Elijah Moore. We've all been obviously enamored with the talk about Zach Wilson and everything else, and then defense, Carl Lawson and Q. But Corey Davis may be the key to this offense when we look back on this 2021 season. So, and I want this guy healthy as possible. If you have to sit him for the preseason games, let Mims take those reps, totally fine with that.
Yep. And I still think they can get on the field at the same time. They can be the two outside guys. Anyway, I just want to make sure that I hope that they give him opportunities so that, again, the team sees with good play, with, fighting and, playing your ass off and giving a great effort, that's going to get you what you want, which is more playing time. So I hope for that reason alone that they give him his opportunity to play. Carmelo El Bori's way, two players that did not play in game 1. He said, with AVT and Elijah Moore, we can be special. I don't think there's any doubt that those two are potential home run picks. We just have to, again, hope, but it looks pretty good with those two guys in the offense. Excuse me. The offensive line certainly is better with AVT in there. There's no doubt about it. Definitely a downgrade if he's not in. Grandroot says, I believe Mims is not on the trading block, makes the 53, and slowly but surely will gain more and more reps as the year goes on. 2023 is the year of the Mims. Very cool, very true. For the game 2, the Jets need to make sure they leave fake game plan laying around. Make sure the balls, are properly inflated and look for every other thing Belichick has been caught doing. Yeah, leave a little.
I gotta tell you,
trail.
it's been so long for everybody, and I just have a really good feeling about the atmosphere for that game. Like, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be a homer. Like, you guys know me. Like, I'm gonna be as honest as possible. Right now, I put us at about a 50-50 chance of winning that game, maybe less. But I will say, after so long without fans in the stands, plus we're gonna have, we've got the hype from Wilson and Salah, and we're just getting rid of that mojo from the Gase era. I think you're gonna have fans show up in a big way. I want to hear everybody loud. I want to hear that chant. I want to hear people going crazy, absolutely crazy, when the Patriots are on offense and just going nuts. That's really what I'm looking forward to the most.
It's going to be really loud. It's going to be super loud. I hear what you're saying, no doubt. It's going to be a pretty intense atmosphere. It could be borderline as loud as that Patriots-Jets game week 2 when Sanchez was a rookie in 2009. That was as loud as it's been um, in the history of that stadium, and it would not shock me if it got pretty close to that level.
Was that might have been 2010? Was that 2010?
I don't think so. I think he was a rookie. I think it was the 2009 season. It was the second game. It was after the Houston Texans win in Week 1. Pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I
Because
think
I was at the second game. Me and my brother were at the second game in 2010 when they played the Patriots in September. That's where Revis had
yeah,
that 360-degree interception.
maybe I'm.
Um, and that was one of the loudest stadiums I've ever been at. And I will say too, Jet fans have and I'm not because there's obvious reasons for this, but Jet fans have a tendency to sell their tickets, especially later in the season, and we all know the reasons why. We're always out of it. It's 3-4 hour drive to get to the stadium and all that kind of stuff. But I think that this being in September, good weather, first game back in well over a year. I think you're not going to see Jet fans selling their tickets. So when they sell their tickets, they opposing teams buy them. So I think that it sound for any other fan base to say this, it wouldn't make any sense. But I think you're going to see a large majority of Jet fans at the Jets stadium. Again, I realize how insane that sounds, but when you go to Jet games, you understand what I'm talking about, because at any given time, you're lucky if you get 50% Jet fans, maybe 60.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking for in the 80s, in the 90% Jet fans ratio there.
Yeah. I don't mean to change the topic, but we have had an enormous climb of subscribers in the last 24 hours. I have to thank everybody who's been watching tonight, who watched yesterday, who was new, who's obviously new now. It's been almost 100 new subscribers in just 24 hours, which is remarkable. That's easily the highest jump that I've had on the channel. So a tip of the cap to all of you, a Jets chant. I just thank you guys so much for all this support. It really does mean quite a bit to me. So thank you very much. Yeah, Isaac Wright playing Madden 22 with the free trial. I am going to be playing Madden 22 on the 20th when it comes out, and I am doing a solo franchise. I'm very excited to do it. That'll be my after work du jour. I'm looking forward to it. Grant Reed said, imagine sweeping the Cheatriots. Oh, man. I don't think we can. I think we can maybe get one, but I like us in that week 2 game because I prefer playing against Cam Newton. I don't think that he's the same player that he once was. So I give us a good shot in that game because of that. I think our defense can impact him. So we'll see. All right. New person who is on the channel, Mazook Jina. If I said your name wrong, I do apologize. I'm just trying my best. He said, seems like Joe Douglas' hit rate with UDFA and low round draft is getting pretty good. This will make all of the difference in building a really good team. Absolutely. And hitting on the mid-round picks is crucial too. Looks like he may have missed on James Morgan. It looks like he may have missed on Jabari Zuniga. I'm not going to crush him for that, but he's going to need to start hitting on the mid-round picks. That's where you make a living, and that's how you become a Super Bowl contending team. The Seattle Seahawks absolutely crushed in the mid-rounds in their run that they had. So I think Bobby Wagner was a second-round pick. Richard Sherman was a 5th-round pick. I mean, they hit on a bunch of people. Malcolm Smith, I think, was a 7th-round pick. Russell Wilson.
Great teams do.
Russell Wilson, a 3rd-round pick. So it's just you got to hit on those mids. It's not just the firsts. It's not just the seconds. You have to hit on these mids. Thank you so much for coming in, Masook. It is great to see you in the chat, and thank you for joining us tonight. So Lindell's, he has a perfect segue, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to move it to our next topic, which is pass rush and secondary. We can just leave the pass rush discussion alone. We've hit on that quite a bit. He said, is anyone concerned with the secondary? I think this should be a top priority in next year's draft. I'm not concerned because I believe very much in our pass rush, which is why I smashed this together in one topic. Some people are concerned based on what they saw last night. I am not one of those people. Chad, what are you thinking about the secondary specifically? Are you concerned? I think it's definitely a top priority. I don't think anybody's going to deny that.
Yeah, I won't say I'm concerned because we knew what this was going into it. It's kind of like the kicker situation. We knew we didn't have a routine kicker and tight end, right? So like we knew this back in January. We knew this back in April. Like we knew we've been talking about it all season. So we have a very young secondary. I know that they believe in themselves, but they have to go out and prove it. It's going to be a process, and so I can't say I'm concerned because we saw this coming.
Yep.
You know, you're going to have, what you got with Ballantyne, Eccles, or whoever's out there, you're going to have those challenges. And look, they're going to get victimized on some deep balls. And I think we're going to have to just understand that that's going to be a part of the process. We hope that the pass rush is going to make up for that. But look, I'm not going to lie. Opposing quarterbacks, opposing wide receivers, they're going to feast a little bit on some of our young DBs, and I mean that's just what it is.
Yep, fair take. I'm in agreement with you. Okay, let's get to some chat because people are hitting us up with this. Carmelo El Bori's way, he says next year's draft we should get another offensive lineman and best player available with the second first rounder. They will most likely go for best player available, kind of like the Elijah Moore pick, but I still think they need to get an offensive lineman, like you said, a cornerback, and a tight end. Those three positions absolutely need to be hit on in the first 3 rounds. So I don't think there's any Jets fan that'll really disagree with that either. I still am very confident in Bryce Hall. I'm still pretty confident in, of the grouping, Dunn, Eccles, Pinnock, who's the other name? Michael Carter II, Javelin Guidry, all of these guys. I don't know who's going to pop, but I'm feeling pretty confident that at least one of them is going to be a decent player. Not necessarily a good starter, but a guy that can be in there and not look like a fool.
Well, and I'm not sleeping on Bless Austin either. I know he's had his ups and downs, but he's got an incredible amount of. I mean, you could see the athleticism, and I know he's got the injury history and stuff, but he's got an opportunity to prove himself.
Yeah, and if anybody didn't know, Mama Austin came after me in my training camp battles video featuring Blesson Austin and Jason Pinnock. You know what? I think she's just a great mom for sticking up for her baby. So it's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I'm not too sweating it. I'm not really sweating it out. Joshua Mitchell. Yes, our cornerbacks are horrible. Thank God we will have a D-line pressuring and Mosley to put people in position. It could be horrible. We don't know, though. No way of knowing. There's a lot of young guys. Remember, if Joe Douglas is going to become a good GM, or I shouldn't say become a GM, if he's going to maintain being a good drafting general manager, he needs to hit, on some of these late round, mid round cornerbacks that he drafted. And that's kind of what I'm counting on. Vern, we're starting 6-0. Jeremy Cravat, who is absolutely chaos on his show. Very, very bold takes on his show. He says, I would be happy with 3-3. And I think that's a fair take. If we're 3-3 after 6 weeks with a really young team, I think that's a huge win for this Jets team.
Any of us would sign on for that.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. It means that we would have probably won a road game. Probably means we won some games in division as well, potentially. I'll sign that dotted line right now. Vern, LOL. I say the Jets win 6 games total, but I like your enthusiasm. Yeah, enthusiasm and dream, baby. Let's see. I am on the Xbox Series X, Mr. Wright. If you are on the Xbox Series X, that would be awesome. I would love to play you sometime. It's not surprising John. Great content week in and week out. Most chat interactive show on YouTube as well. Yeah, that is the one thing I will hang my hat on. I do as a very purposeful thing I do. So thank you very much. Joshua says, I know we will win week 100%. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I'm very confident as well in that week 1 game. There's no guarantees. It's a road game. We have a young team, but I feel pretty confident in that one as well. Vern, you think Mac Jones is currently better than Cam? No, not currently. Down the road, probably. I'm not going to hate on Cam, but Cam is again, I said it, he's not the same quarterback throwing the ball that he was when he came into the NFL from Auburn. He could really sling the football. He had a really strong arm, and if you watch Cam throw now, it's like me throwing. Like he really has to put everything into some of these throws, and it ultimately forces him into some inaccuracy throws and some inaccurate attempts. If you disagree with that take, that's totally fine. I just believe that Cam Newton's best days are behind him, and he's going to continue to get hurt if they use him the way they've been using him and the way he was used in his career. So
you think it's more likely that we see Mac Jones in the second game and not necessarily on September 19th?
Yeah, unless Belichick is just completely against playing him at all this season, which I don't know if he is or not. I would rather face Cam Newton all of those games. I don't want to play Mac Jones just because I don't fear Cam Newton the same as I do the unknown entity in Mac Jones. Alrighty, let's keep it moving. Yeah, dude, that's a great comment. There's so many players. Rod Smith, I believe, was an undrafted free agent for the Denver Broncos as well. There's so many great football players that were 7th round picks. I mean, everywhere, every round, and undrafted free agents. There's always been good players at every one of those spots. You have to find those players if you're going to win a championship. Let's see. Just trying to catch up here. I'm a little bit behind. Bless better than advertised. So many were quick to write him off. We'll see, man. There are some real haters on not on Vern. There are some real haters of Bless on Austin. I am still one of those people that is going to give him a shot this year. We didn't have a pass rush. We haven't had a pass rush, and that's hard on a secondary. That's hard on young cornerbacks. Maybe Bless on Austin can be a really solid outside corner with this new regime and scheme and pass rush. I'm not going to write him off yet. There's a lot of people that are writing him off. One of the biggest entities on YouTube is Jets X Factor, and they are notoriously not in favor of Blasson Austin at all. They don't even really want him making the team. So I'm not saying I love the guy, but I just think that we can't write him off quite yet. All right. Mid-round picks fail 50% of the time. So do first-round quarterbacks as well. JD also hit on other players. They can't all succeed. No doubt. Gitmo Bob, you're 100% right, and I'm not suggesting that. They do not all hit. We just need to hit on some of them right now because we are rebuilding, and that's what good that's what good teams do when they are rebuilding is they hit on those picks because it speeds the process up. And so that's why I said that. It's not a criticism because he's not going to hit on every pick, but we need these guys to hit because we need players on this football team. Oh my God, dude. Malcolm Harper, absolutely. Bryce Huff looks like he could be the starter opposite Carl Lawson. I still think Jonathan Franklin Myers might end up being the starter with the label of starter, but there's no doubt Bryce Huff is going to get in this rotation this season. He's going to play a lot of football, I think.
He's working himself up the depth chart. I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, he got his sack on the first play last night. It was awesome. You can't have enough quality depth along that front seven. And I mean, you're talking about even if we do have to sub him, like so, like let's say we have to we have to sub out somebody for Bryce Huff. That's awesome. That's great. He's going to come in when the offense is tired and he's going to eat. I can't wait. I'm getting very excited about the prospect of Bryce Huff. I love the idea of him and Carl Lawson on the other side with Q in the middle. It's great.
Yep. Vern coming at me. I love it. This is the energy, man. This is what I need. He said, she schooled you, John, or Penny. He said, Pinnock might not make it. Bless looked good. You might be right, dude. I am, again, I'm not a hater. In the video, I didn't even hate on him. That was the only thing I didn't really like about her take, because I actually picked Blasson Austin to be named the starter week 1 opposite Bryce Hall, and I complimented him in the video. So, again, I appreciate what she's doing. She's just standing up. She's standing up for her child. And as a parent, I know that's always a thing. As a parent, you're never going to not support your child. That's your job. So I'm not a hater. I like Bless. I think Bless gets a little bit too much criticism, to be honest with you. John Post, who I do not recognize, welcome to the show, my man. Good to see you. He says it was good to hear announcers saying that the Jets got a coverage sack. When was the last time we heard this? Amen. We need coverage sacks. We also just need guys blowing through blockers as well. A mixture of the two. Hello. Oh, look at her. She's just welcoming herself. She acts like she owns the place sometimes, you know? Watch your ass, Michelle. Just watch it. All right. Anyway, all kidding aside. Carmelo says Saleh got to throw that challenge flag. He missed an opportunity yesterday for a first down. He did it in the fourth quarter. You're right, though. That obvious first down run by Ty Johnson was ridiculous. Missed call by the refs. Mike, you're right. Cam's arm is like Chad's. After all these injuries, yeah, he's had a ton of injuries. Hey, Michelle, hope John made all your dreams come true on your vacation. That's nice of you. Yes, we were on vacation quite a bit of time. Disney World and Maine as well. Had a good time. All right, let me catch up to this chat. Michelle said, I wish I could send a GIF right now. All right. Vern says, imagine that phone call between Bless and Bless Mom on NYJ today talking shit. I promise you I didn't. I did not talk shit. I literally did the opposite. I said he has very good speed. I said that he's a physical tackler. And I said, don't write him off. I think I said, like, he's going to be the week 1 starter. It's going to be more or less, can he hold on to the job? That's all I said.
Look, do you remember when we were at Sam Darnold's first game, or like his first preseason game in Washington? And this was like 2018, whatever. And you and I are sitting there and we're going over the whole, like we're talking about the whole roster. And I don't remember the name of the tight end. Somebody might get it. But we had like a 3rd or 4th string tight end, and his dad was like sitting right in front of me. And
I know who you're talking about.
And you and I, and we're sitting next to each other, and we're talking about the tight ends. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really sure about this tight end group.
Was it Neil?
It was Neil Sterling, yeah.
Boom!
And his dad like stands up and he turns around and he's like, don't talk about Sterling. And I was like, and of course, you know, this is an NFL player's dad. So of course he's like, you know, 6'6", 280, whatever. And I'm like, yes, absolutely, sir. Just letting you know, I'm not saying anything about your son. I hope he's nothing but successful. So, but again, you know, all we were doing was talking about, we were like, hey, what do you think about this tight end depth? And, you know, I'm not really sure. But that's it's different for them. It's family. You know what I mean? For us, it's, you know, it's a game and it's, you know, it's a sincere hobby or whatever, but for them, it really is family. So they take it personally, and I can understand that.
Absolutely. Let's see. Marshall looked like a man among the 3rd string players. Looks like a future pipeline guy to me. I thought I read a comment earlier and I meant to put it up. I don't know who said it. I don't think that they can afford to put this guy on the practice squad. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. Especially if he continues to do what he did, or even just like, close to that level. I don't think they can afford to put a guy that they drafted that's showing promise on the practice squad. I think that's a bad idea. I would much rather they, move on from a guy like Jabari Zuniga. I want somebody that has shown that they can do it. So there's some back and forth here in the chat. You shouldn't have shown me that. I'm tempted. Use John's credit card. Don't use my credit card. Okay, we will move on from this topic. By the way, guys, there are about 41 people. We've got 42 likes. If you have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do that right now. Punch it down for me. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hope you guys are enjoying the show tonight. This is going to be a weekly thing. Every Sunday night, we're going to do this. Hopefully, it's a celebratory Sunday night stream because those will be really, really fun. And I imagine that the lost Sunday night streams will suck. But we'll do Jets therapy. That'll be what we do. All right. Vern says that Marshall looked like Quinnen. Yeah, disruptive. That's what he looked like. Penetrating and fast. It's why they swing on him in the end of the draft. Even though it wasn't a position of need, they said this guy looks like he could be an interior rusher. Let's get them because they are rare. I think it was the smart thing to do. It's only a 30% net loss. Get out of here with this BS. All right, KKKKKKKKKK. My favorite username in the whole channel community. Should Zach Wilson seek advice from Joe Namath? I think that he should talk to Joe Namath, and Joe Namath can give him like off the field advice, stuff like that, but nothing on the field. Joe Namath played to say that it was in a different era is like putting it mildly. But yeah, absolutely, he should talk to Joe Namath, and I'm sure eventually they will connect at some point. Carmelo's great question. Maybe Chad, I could put you to work and look at this to find out. When is the Packers scrimmage? I don't know. I think it's this week though, right? The preseason game's on Saturday, so I have to assume that they're going to practice sometime this week.
They said 2 days, so you're probably looking at Wednesday and Thursday, maybe Thursday and Friday. Okay. If I had to guess, I'd say Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday and Friday. Let me check.
Yep. All right, no worries. Wicked says, I still hope they get Borregales from the Bucks. Yes, I think everybody's hoping that they pick somebody up. Oh, wow. Okay, so people in the chat are really against Joe Namath even talking to Zach Wilson. I want zero advice going from Zach Wilson, to Zach Wilson from Joe Namath. Joe might try to kiss him. Joe is a cancer. No.
And just to follow up on that, the practices will be on Wednesday and Thursday, and they'll have their own practice on Friday, and then, of course, the game on Saturday.
That's great. So the Wednesday podcast will be after the first practice for the scrimmage, so hopefully you guys will tune in for that. We will be live on Wednesday as well, and for the rest of the season. All right. Would love to bring Chad Pennington to work with him. Yes, that would be amazing because Chad was really good in the film, studying. I think that he could give a ton of advice. I don't know why Chad Pennington hasn't even tried to become a coach. I guess he doesn't want to be a coach. I think he'd be outstanding.
Isn't his
kids?
His son is high school right now, or
no, I think his kid's going to college. Like, I think he just declared he's going to Marshall. I'm pretty sure.
No way.
Pretty sure. And I think his name's Cole because he named him after.
Oh my God, he looks just like. I mean, that's not surprising, but my God, he looks just like him.
Yeah.
Yep. He's got that weird, like, kind of curly hair thing too.
Yep, the mop head.
Oh my God, and he is going to Marshall.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God, that's great. Okay, so I just read. This is the comment. Excuse me. This is the comment of the night, so it will get read. Jason Rhodes. He's talking about Joe Namath talking to Sam Darnold, and he said that's how Sam got mono. You win, Jason. This is why you are here, sir. What can I do? We'll give you a growing. Well done. Never liked Joe since he made a fool of us on national television. Yeah, dude, he was alcoholic at that point, though. I think he got his life together after that. So, all right. What did Joe do on TV? He tried to kiss Susie Colbert on the sideline. They were, to be fair, they were celebrating. It was like some sort of like, like a remembrance of the team that won the Super Bowl, and they had a bunch of players from that team. He was one of them, and they had been doing some drinking before the game, and he was like, "I want to kiss you." He told Susie Colbert that. You could probably look that up on YouTube in about 5 seconds. Yeah, it does sound like Joe. All right, we'll go to the next topic. This stream will be ending soon, guys. If you've been here the whole time, though, really, really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and again, it will be a lot more fun when we have regular season games to talk about, because I think we'll have even more to discuss, because then we have the next game to talk about, and just hopefully a lot of good things to talk about. Yeah, that's me. All right. So I got to talk about Brayden Mann. We have not spoken his name yet, and I think that's criminal. Nobody in the chat has mentioned Brayden Mann unless I missed it. Chad has not mentioned him. I have not mentioned him. This was his best game in preseason or regular season. He knocked it out of the park. And I get it, like preseason football, whatever. For a punter, though, it matters. Like the punter, he needs to be, performing well all of the time. They need to be consistent. The dude killed it. I think he had a punt of 58 yards last night. His net was like 46 yards, which is really solid. He pinned them inside the 20-yard line 3 times out of 5 punts. So I talked about it on Green Bean's channel when I was on a couple of weeks back. If Brayden Mann becomes legitimately a weapon for our defense, and again, that's how I view or punters, I should say. They're really more of a defensive player than they are a special teamer, because if they can pin inside the 20-yard line, inside the 10-yard line, that sets your defense up to really be successful. And that's how I view it. The Rams, when they went to the Super Bowl, they had Johnny Hecker, and he was a weapon. Like, he was making a huge difference on that football team. Tell me a little bit about anything that you're thinking about with Brayden Mann. Chad, just go for it.
Well, first of all, he's what, 22, 23, so he's going into his second or third season. So he's still learning, but yeah, and it's one of those things, punting especially is one of those things that not a lot of people are going to hone in on in the preseason, especially when you've got your first look at your hopefully starting quarterback of the future. But that being said, yes, I 100% agree. He had some great kicks. He had some great kicks last season, to be totally fair. But yeah, I really like what I see from him. I like having consistency at that spot, especially when we don't currently have consistency at the kicker position. So a big plus side for Brayden Mann.
Yep. So the one thing I will say with Brayden Mann in his rookie season, his net average was pretty poor. And Grant Rood did talk a little bit about it. I don't know if I 100% agree with what he's saying, but I do want to touch on it a little bit, because it's not a completely outrageous take. He's saying that Brayden Mann needs to work on his hang time. And hang time is essentially, as soon as the ball is kicked, how long it stays in the air. And good punters keep the ball up in the air a long time, because it forces fair catches. It negates any return at all, excuse me. And I think that's a fair thing to say. The only thing I will say is he's going to get better. Like, the net average thing is going to improve this season. I would be shocked if it didn't. So we'll see. And what he's saying is he's trying to punch the ball down the field rather than put it up in the air. There's multiple, there's multiple ways you can attempt and go after punts. You can try to knock it down far and hope your coverage gets down there. You can try to put it up in the air and just let make them fair catch it. There's multiple ways you can go after it. Okay, Grant Rude's saying, you'll see, John, his hang time is not good. I will pay attention to that when I rewatch the game. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm going to give him a chance. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a really good punter for us. I think it's just one of those things where he's still learning and getting better. I love our special teams coach. I think that's going to show. Brant Boyer is a nice special teams coordinator. So I think he's going to have his impact on Brayden Mann.
There's a reason why they kept him.
Yes. Yeah, the only coach they retained. So I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Okay, Vincent Smith helped Mann on one of those big time. And again, Justin Hardy, one of the favorites of Mike on the channel. He loves Justin Hardy, and that's also going to be Justin Hardy's responsibility, is getting down there and getting those punt returners either to fair catch it or just tackling them right away. So if Vincent Smith is doing that, that's a really good sign for him. I was talking about it last night. Do you think there's a chance Vincent Smith actually makes the team over Berrios? I'm starting to wonder.
That's a good question. I still don't see Vincent Smith as a slot guy. I see him more of a utility guy. I kind of see him all over the field. He has athleticism. I think it would have been much easier for him to stand out on last year's roster. This year, I'm not so sure. I think Berrios is dealing with a groin or something like that. But no, Vincent Smith showed up last week. I will say, if we don't find a way to keep him and he ends up being a cap casualty, I don't think he's going to stick around. I think that somebody's going to come in and swoop him up.
Yep. Okay. Vervain is agreeing with me. He's saying we found our punter finally, just need a player now. I believe in Brayden Mann. I think he's got the talent, and again, the hang time probably will improve over his career, and hopefully this season is where we see him start. That net average is really the key. It's not really how far you can kick it. It's all about the net average. And so hang time is part of that. Your special teams gunners is part of that. Wicked says, I still find it hysterical how Greg Williams wanted Mann because the Gase offense was so terrible. They knew that punting unit would be active and would help out his defense. I think that's probably a true story. I hadn't heard that one though. Brayden Mann needs to stop being the myth and become the legend he was born to be. Let's go, number 7. That's the attitude. Mann is a good tackler. He was good last year, and he was good in college at Texas A&M. He was definitely laying the lumber on people for sure.
Well, he was public enemy number 1 for a while there, but hopefully, and we all know why, but hopefully it won't end up being a big deal in the long run.
Yeah. Grant Rude's agreeing. Love Brant Boyer. Honestly surprised, but happy he stuck with the coaching overhaul. Mims could end up being a gunner. I still prefer seeing guys like Vincent Smith and Justin Hardy doing that, but he did it last night. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I was not expecting Mims to go on the special teams, so that's pretty surprising to say the least. Yeah, Hardy is injured right now. Hopefully it's not too serious. We don't know the length of time right now. Grant Rude says we're going to keep 6 after Crowder is traded before week 1. You think they're going to trade him, Grant Rude? I'm shocked. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't see that happening. We've talked a lot about that opportunity or lack of opportunity. I just don't see why you would do that when you are rolling with a rookie. I feel like it's just too risky. There are people who agree with you though, Grant Rude. I know Matt O'Leary, his YouTube channel, he's talked a lot about the benefits of trading Jamison Crowder, if not before the season, during the season. So I hear you. But yeah, he's saying Davis, Moore, Cole, Mims, Berrios, and Smith.
The offer would have to be fairly substantial for Joe Douglas to even consider that. It would have to come from a team that's probably been decimated early on with wide receiver injuries. Um, Personally, I don't want it to happen. I do
Me,
not want it.
yeah, me either. I had said, and this was before free agency, so I don't want to go backtrack really far here, but I had said I would be willing for them to cut Crowder if they had signed a guy like Curtis Samuel in free agency. But that's ancient history at this point, and the current me is saying we need to keep him because it benefits Zach. And although having an extra pick would be great, I don't like the idea of potentially losing depth for the rookie. I think it's not to me. And we're already locked and loaded in 22. We are stocked. The shelves have been fully restocked with draft picks. We are ready to roll for the 22 offseason. I just don't see it as a benefit to me. That's just a take. And if you disagree with that, all good, because there are people who agree with you.
Just don't see the upside on that.
Yeah, me either. Carmelo L. Bori's Way says, I won't trade him, especially after he restructured for us. Yeah, and I think that's the sign. Like the Jets probably had offers at that point before they restructured. I think that the fact that they did restructure makes me believe they're going to keep him, but anything could happen. Mike says, I hate the idea of trading Crowder. Keep all of your good players for Zach. That's been my take. Grant Rude says, why wouldn't the offer have to be substantial? He's only on for one more year, and the current young guys are good. You're right. You're not wrong about that. The idea in my mind, if we traded him for another pick, we're losing depth, which again, we have good depth even if we trade him. That's for sure. But if we're trading him, we're probably getting what, a third or a fourth at best. People have thrown out a second round pick. That's outrageous. We're not getting a second round pick for Jamison Crowder. I don't even think a team would give up a third.
No.
So we're getting probably a fourth, fifth round pick for Jamison Crowder, best case scenario. I with the amount of draft capital that we already have, with the amount of draft picks that we just spent in this last two drafts, there's not going to be enough roster spaces for all of these guys. And if you traded Crowder for a fourth or for a fifth, or even best case scenario, a third, you probably would be in a circumstance where you could use that to trade up. But I think we can already do something like that with the current draft capital that we have. So there's still flexibility in next year's draft if we don't get a pick for Crowder. And again, all respect to people who disagree. There is a valid point. He is only on he's only on the Jets for this year. He there's no cap ramification if we trade him. So I get it. I hear you, but I just don't see the benefit of another mid to late round pick. I would rather roll with Crowder on the team and just keep him for this season. He's too valuable to a player like Zach in his first. Okay. We are caught up on that. Brayden Mann is the man. I don't care what Grant Rude says. I'm really excited about him. He had a really, really good game. I'm hoping he can continue to do that. I will watch the hang time though, Grant Rude. I will get my little stopwatch out. Let's see. This is the last topic of the night, and then we will say goodbye. Falling players. Players that performed poorly, players that didn't really even see the field. Who are some of the players that you guys are worried about after game one? Again, it's okay. We're not overreacting by saying these names. We're just throwing names out there. This is just discussion. So if we put a name in there, it's not necessarily like they're awful, they're going to be off the team, they're going to cut them. Just based on what we saw, is there anybody that you guys think is falling now, maybe in the depth chart, or maybe is in that bubble now of potentially being cut? Chad, you go first, and I will be looking at the chat to see.
I think the the grace given to Chris Herndon is starting to run out. We've seen some of the reports about the drops in training camp and things like that. And I know he had one catch last night, but I think we're reaching the point where he's going to have to do significantly more to garner playing time consideration here. Um, I'm getting the sense that I just don't think that this coaching staff is going to put up with too much mediocrity, too much more mediocrity out of him. And if he ends up being or a camp casualty, um, I don't think you could consider that surprising. Now, again, he could come out against the Packers and shine, and that would be awesome, which is a little bit odd because if I remember correctly, that was the game in his first season where he had that great catch. So I mean, there's a little bit of a connection there, but I need anybody on that tight end, in that tight end room to step up, but particularly Chris Herndon.
What about Yeboah? His one opportunity, his one target, his one reception. Any concern? I know there's some people that are like adamant that this kid is good, could make the team. I'm not calling out Green Bean by saying this because I say things and I've been wrong too. So there's no hate being said, but he has mentioned him as potentially even being a starter for the Jets. What are your thoughts on Yeboah? It's kind of easy to pick on him, but what are your thoughts on him potentially slipping a little bit?
If he's slipping a little bit, it's only in the eyes of the fans because you're talking about a rookie tight end in his first actual game in the NFL. I know he bobbled the ball; it didn't look good, but he's going to get other opportunities. I mean, contrast that with Chris Herndon, who's in year 3, right? And if they're even, you're still going with Yeboah at this point because unfortunately you've seen 3 years now of Chris Herndon. So at this point, if Yeboah is falling, it can't be that much. Plus, if he gets 2 or 3 catches in against the Packers, or if he has a couple good days on Wednesday and Thursday in those joint practices, we could have a completely different discussion this time next week.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact too much on Yeboah because it was just one play, but it's not a good look that his one opportunity was a fumble. He has to capitalize. As an undrafted guy, you have to capitalize on every single rep that you get, especially in these preseason games. I do want to get to one comment. Green Bean thinks he's on the bubble. And I know Green Bean has he has talked about that and said that he now is in a bad situation. I agree. I think Yeboah is just going to need a rebound, like you said, Chad. I don't think it's over for him necessarily, but he's going to need a rebound in some way or fashion in these scrimmages, in practice. I agree with you. Herndon may end up getting cut. I know that was a name that we had talked about earlier in the offseason. I'm going to throw a name out there that's not real surprising. Lamar Jackson has to be on the bubble. There's no doubt. I think Jabari Zuniga has to be on the bubble. There's no way he's not. Even though he was hurt, that's a bad thing. If he's getting hurt again, not just the bad play, not just making an impact, if he's hurt again, that's bad. Trying to think of some other names. James Morgan and Mike White looked good last night. That's been one of the common topics amongst fans. I thought Mike White was very impressive in the game. He was very decisive, quick with his reads, getting the ball out, accurate. I was very, very surprised by Mike White. So I think that puts James Morgan on thin ice. Maybe they put James Morgan on the practice squad. That could be. Running backs. Pirine, I'm not going to say he's on the roster bubble, but I still didn't really see a whole lot from him. I know that there were a couple of plays where there was no chance, like he just didn't have any blocking. But even on the plays where he did have decent blocking, I'm still not overly impressed. I still like Josh Adams better than him even. I really like Ty Johnson. I've been saying that all along. Michael Carter's making the team. Tevin Coleman's making the team. So how is P. Ryan going to make this roster? That's what I've been saying all offseason. It's not really as much as I hate him, as much as I just don't see how he makes the team. That's my question with P. Ryan.
Yeah. And side note, I actually really liked what I saw out of Michael Carter last night.
Yeah.
I like his running style. I love that.
He's elusive.
Yeah.
And if we get the blocking right, the run blocking right, if this offensive line gets rolling here, he could be very, very dynamite in this offense. Harrison Glazer loves Mike White. He's gleaming right now. I don't know if I love Mike White, but I sure do like him more than I did. I'm learning more about him now, and I was very, very impressed by what I saw. He can definitely develop into a decent backup, it looks like. We'll see, though. He has to do it again. He has to do it through all these preseason games. He's going to get a lot more reps, I think, again. All right, let's go to some of the chat. Wicked says Zuniga definitely. Jeremy is saying that Dan Feeney was awful. Carmelo L. Borey's way. Ashton Davis. That would break my little heart. I still am rooting for him. He's got to stop getting hurt. The fact that he's now missed all of this whole training camp, that's not good. I don't know if he'll get cut, but it's not good. Zuniga, Lamar Jackson is another name out there. All of the tight ends should be on the hot seat. Yeah, I don't think anybody's safe at tight end because there are just so many unknowns at that position. Okay, Malcolm Harper with the hot take here. Nathan Shepard not going to make the team. And I think that's fine. He was drafted by McCagnon. He's a little bit older, even though he's only in his third year, I think. Fourth year. And I don't think he's a bad fit. But again, you consider Jonathan Marshall looked pretty damn good. You consider Foley Fatukasi, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins. There's a number of defensive linemen on this team, and he might be an odd man out. Excuse me. Yeah, that Austin Walter. Yeah, when he fell and fumbled after getting up, I think he even probably knew damn, I may have just lost my job right there, which sucks. That sucks for that guy.
It's so hard from their perspective for this time of year, because I mean one play and you can just be done. That can be your entire opportunity right there.
Yep. I don't think Joe's gonna let Ryan Griffin go. He was a Joe guy. Yes, he was. And I've been hard on Griffin. I thought maybe he would get cut. He's been here, and yeah, he might stick. We know Croft is going to be on the team. People are talking about Bryce Hall in the chat, actually, and saying he needs to do a little bit more, a little bit better, giving up space, not doing so well against some of the scrubs of the Giants. We shall see. You guys are blowing right by me. Yaboa hype came from YouTube. He's not making the 53. He can't block. You have been saying that from the beginning, so I will give you credit where credit is due. Yeah, Kenny, that's fair. We had initially said maybe Kenny Yaboa would be too good on the practice squad and wouldn't, he wouldn't stick. Somebody would come and steal him. I think it's fair to wonder if maybe now we could put him on the practice squad and see if we could develop him a little bit. Most people are agreeing with me. And Lamar Jackson. Mike is saying Josh Adams is probably going to get cut. He got hardly playing time. He did look good when he got playing time. I'm kind of hoping that they flip P. Ryan and Adams in this next game and see how he does with a better offensive line and maybe a stronger defense. I like Josh Adams, man. I think he's pretty good. But we'll see. Nagar, that's a fair point. Nagar could be on the block. Zuniga must go. Not racist. Let's see. Both Henry and Smith are hurt right now. Not one to be happy about injuries, but kinda. It's the cheek trade. Yeah, the Jonnu Smith. I didn't know Jonnu Smith was hurt. I knew that Hunter Henry was. I didn't know Jonnu Smith was hurt.
I
They,
saw that it was nothing serious.
yeah, they spent a boatload on those two guys. Boatload on them. Good question, Winston Smith. This will probably be our last comment of the night. It is 10 o'clock. Going to try to definitely cap these Sunday streams to about 2 hours because I do have to go to work the next day. Winston Smith, how about Blake Cashman? He could be on the roster. However, we are so thin at linebacker. I don't see how he doesn't make the team just based on the thinness of that group. Sherwood's a lock. Hamza Nasruddin's a lock. Mosley's a lock. Gerard Davis is a lock. I don't know if anybody else is really a lock. So that's only 4 dudes right there.
Yeah.
I think Cashman's probably safe unless he gets hurt. All right. Thank you guys so much. This was a great stream, a great first post-game stream. Looking forward to doing this every single Sunday. I will say we'll do this every Sunday except for that stretch of days between the last preseason game and the first preseason game because there's like a 12-day like stretch where there's nothing happening in the NFL. So we probably won't stream on that Sunday, but then we'll go right back into it as soon as the Carolina Panthers and the Jets finish up. We'll start streaming right away again. We're going to stream again after the Packers Jets game. We'll do it again on Sunday night. Be on the lookout on Twitter, guys. I do updates all the time. Also, keep your eyes out on the community tab on the channel. I post updates in there as well. Chad, you got any last thoughts you want to throw in here real quick before we roll?
Nope. Thanks. Only to say thanks all to the chat. Very interactive tonight. Very much appreciated.
Yep. All right, guys. That's it. Go Jets. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. And a word from my daughter. Peace, guys.